Did you know that morning routines are scientifically proven to work? They impact both productivity and your overall mental health and well-being. So here are 3 key elements of my morning routine that help me build a $100 million business.
This is my man, Keala Kanae.
Keala Kanae, he takes entrepreneurs on a journey to grow their business.
First off, let me start by saying that I think that at times there's really entirely too much emphasis placed on this topic of morning routines. What I mean by that is I remember myself being eager and ambitious and on the come up in my industry and thinking that morning routines were going to help me be more successful. And I would, look at what everybody else was doing and try to copy what they were doing. Let's be clear. The only things that make you money are money-making activities, and morning routines are typically not comprised of money-making activity. A lot of the stuff that's touted out there as productivity hacks are really just cleverly disguised procrastination hacks. I think it's much more effective to see what people are doing in their morning routine, but to really craft something that's specific to your needs, which is what I've done over time. So with that said, here are 3 key elements of my morning routine. Number 1 is movement. If at all possible, I want to get my workout in first thing in the morning, like literally the first thing that I do for the day. I want to get in the gym, get in a good sweat, do some muscle building. And the reason for that is something called BDNF, brain-derived neurofactor. There is science that shows that as we put stress on the body, we create new neurochemicals in the brain that increase our overall cognitive function. Throughout my day, I have lots of decisions to make. So I need to be focused, I need to be sharp, and I need to have good mental fortitude, which means that I have to go from decision to decision to decision to decision at times, or meeting after meeting after meeting, and still be as sharp 6 or 7 meetings into the day as I was on the first one. That takes strong cognitive function, and that's why I want to get my workout in early in the morning versus in the afternoon or the evening. Number 2, I call it meditation. Now, I'm not talking about sitting around singing Kumbaya and doing visualizations. Instead, meditation for me is really just time alone with my thoughts. Oftentimes you'll find me sitting on my patio or on my deck with a cup of coffee where I am just organizing my thoughts for the day after my workout. I am looking at what are all the things that I need to accomplish for the day and breaking those down, thinking through some of the problems or challenges that we're facing. Oftentimes I may even start taking notes on an iPad or an iPhone just to dump some of my thoughts out on paper, so to speak, and clear up some of that congestion in the mind that I tend to experience when there's too many things going on. So really the purpose of my meditation is just to have time away from the phone, time away from interruptions, time away from other people, to be alone with my thoughts, prioritize my day, and oftentimes find the one thing that if I accomplish it for the day is going to have the greatest cascading effect. Number 3 is mind. I want to do something that helps sharpen my mind. Oftentimes what I'm doing here is really just reading, listening to a podcast, or listening to an audiobook. I want information that's going to stimulate the higher cognitive functions of my brain. It really brings the prefrontal cortex online, which is the logical, rational component of the brain, and I get that fired up before I go into my work for the day. Now, I will also say here that what I've found over time is that it's much more effective to reread the material that's had a great impact on me than it is to read a bunch of different books. Like if you read 1,000 books in your life, you're probably going to find that there's only about 10 of those that really made a fundamental difference. So I would rather focus on those 10 that have made a great impact in myself or my business rather than wasting my time on the 990 that I have to sift through in order to find those 10. So in other words, what I'm saying is when I find a good book or a good podcast or a good piece of material that I have seen a fundamental change in myself, my behaviors, and the way that I produce in my business, well, I like to typically revisit that material as part of that mind stimulation component for the morning versus inputting new information and then spinning my wheels on that throughout the day. I found that to be far more effective. So listen, I hope you got value out of this video. In case you've never met before, my name is Keala Kanae. I'm an entrepreneur that started in a coffee shop like this for minimum wage, and I've gone on now to build a $100 million business. I say that so that you know that everything I share on my channel comes from real world knowledge of things I've learned and executed on to get those results, and I share them here in hopes to help you get similar results as well. So subscribe, hit that little bell notification so you get notified every week when I drop more content like this, and make sure you watch this next productivity video in the lineup.